Okay.
All right, let's call the meeting to order at 1:01. So we have a couple of things to do today. The first is to go through the minutes of March 16th, 28th, June 20th, and June 27th to review and approve. And Hannah, yes, I checked to see if you can vote to approve, and you can vote to approve.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have any issues.
On any of them.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, they look really thorough.
Yeah.
You can make one motion and do it.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Perfect.
Libby, did you have any questions or comments or changes to the
No,
minutes?
I did not. They looked great to me.
Jennifer, well done on these.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 16th, March 28th, June 20th, and June 27th.
Thank you. Thank you. All to approve, say aye.
Right?
So approved. All right, the second thing on today's agenda is, well, I should ask, does anybody have anything else to add to the agenda? Okay, the second thing on the agenda is to review final evaluations that have been received. I had a question on this, Jennifer. Some of these, there's a requirement that they're to be submitted within 30 days of the completion of the project. Or the end of the fiscal year. So is the end of the fiscal year for the city, is that correct? Or for that organization?
I believe it's the ours.
Okay, so then even if the event is in February or March, they still have till end of July, correct?
They're still supposed to do 30 days.
I think it says whichever is.
Whichever occurs first. Okay,
Let me check the.
it does. I'm reading it now, or the end of the fiscal year, whichever occurs first. So that's an interesting, that's a great distinction. But my question still stays the same. As some of these appear that they're beyond 30 days. Am I?
I actually didn't review them. I just selected.
Okay.
Pass them on, so,
And here's the other thing, I don't see a date stamp, so we know the date that we get them.
okay, most of them are coming in through email,
Okay,
so I'll start doing a dates.
Okay.
for the Future ones.
or just a note received on such and such date, because otherwise it's hard for us to know exactly what day they were received and if they're within the timeline.
And the end of the fiscal year should be no issue because we're not funding in events in June.
Yeah.
Needless to say, so yeah. Despite everybody thinks that we fund Corgi Days or that the chamber's running it.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
people came and asked me, why are we bringing
We're
Corgi?
not.
Yeah, well, and then somebody told some people that the chamber was doing it, so I had to tell them it's not a chamber event.
They complained at the Bald Eagle to me about, why does the chamber do this in July? They don't.
It's not the chamber,
All your friends.
not the city. Yeah,
It's not the city, it's not the chamber. It's people who decided to do their own thing and got a permit from state parks.
right.
We can't do anything about it.
I have a question though, but they put the porta potties in the dumpster, but they don't need a city permit to do that?
They needed to get a right of way permit for that because they wanted to put something in our city right of way. But because their event's not really on city property,
State, okay.
but I know that Bruce has been talking with the Corgi person, Jennifer, I think.
Yeah.
So I know he's been talking with her, and I think some other people have contacted her as well regarding.
And so I don't know the Corgi leader person, but I know a lot of the people who are close to the Corgi leader person and they want to play nice with us because they love coming here in spite of the fact that we would love to not have them here on the last weekend in July.
Right.
But I think she understands that next time there needs to be more porta potties, more garbage cans and some, more coordination with the city. And I think she plans on doing that next year. And I think Bruce is trying to do that.
I didn't know where people were coming to me going, who's in charge of this? And then I heard, no, it was state, but then I was like,
It's just, their event is on the beach.
Right.
That's a state
Yeah.
park.
but it still impacts services,
Oh,
which.
yes, it does.
That's a lot of things.
Winter.
And that's why, like I said, she wants to play nice. And so I think next year she might be doing something different to make it I mean, I wish they wouldn't choose the last weekend.
Like September?
They're- Yeah, I would, last weekend in September.
Right.
Okay,
But we have nothing to do with it. Neither does the chamber, neither does the city. I mean.
Yeah.
it's People who decided to do a meetup and, I mean, you can't control that.
No.
They got a state park permit?
Didn't they used to do it later?
Nope, it's always been the last weekend in
This is just
July
the biggest one.
because of COVID being done and the weather was
It was hot,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the weather was 100 in Portland,
Right.
in addition to the weather being beautiful down here.
Because we just never felt the impact quite like we did this year.
No,
It's
I
kind of
mean,
like that year 4th of July was on a Saturday.
yes.
Yeah.
I think that one random Memorial Day or something when it was really hot. I was like, that
You
was.
can't control those,
Yeah,
control those.
that answers a lot then, because
Anyway, sorry, that was a tangent. Sorry about that.
they just need a right of way.
All right, so we received a couple. The first one is from Ken Beach Arts Association. It is their art exhibits, virtual exhibits, receptions in the art of presentation. Well, and see, for this, when I'm looking at their events, to me, it looks like their last event was April 29th.
I think that's correct.
So I was just kind of wondering what day did we receive this?
Mhm.
It says August 4th.
Up top.
Yeah,
Ah,
value
yeah.
your name, Leela,
Right,
August 4th.
that's the day she prepared it. But even that, that's way after,
Oh, yeah.
it should have been May 29th, or should have been the submission date. So my question is there any sort of repercussion to the organization for submitting a final outside of the requirement, or, any organization sending in the reports outside of the deadline?
I think we've been kind of sort of lax about it in the back since we didn't have a meeting to go over these. We knew we weren't gonna have a meeting to go over these until now,
Right?
but at the same time, how much of a hard ass should we be?
Mhm.
That I don't know. Ask
And
Jennifer.
are there extenuating circumstances, right, that come in and,
Was there an email to Jennifer that said, hey, Lila's gonna be gone for a month? And yeah,
right, that-
and in which case she probably would have looked at the calendar and said, well, we're not having a meeting till July, so it's, how about we agree upon this date?
right,
Well, and apologies if I don't get this right, but is there a reason why it's the 30 days rather than just like a hard date of July 1st for all events?
Well, I think what it is, and Julie has more historical context than I do, is that we have meetings a couple times in the year and we can look at them as they roll rather than trying to look at all 13 of them at
Gotcha.
one time.
Plus the information, so if your event is the cottage tour, it's fresh in their mind within 30 days of what's happened. But if you tell them that in July and they let it slough off through the summer and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, what did we do? What happened?
Yeah.
Because,
10 months out.
yeah. So I think the idea is it's fresh in their mind and then, we're not sitting here doing finals that are this thick and it's a 5-hour meeting to get through them all.
Okay, yeah, just most of the grants that I've ever done, they always have like just a hard date
Right.
and that's, on the rolling basis.
Yeah.
So Jennifer, the question I have
Okay.
is, we've got this 30-day report deadline. And the CBAA report that final that we have here, the last event was in April. And it looks like you received this in August. And I'm just wondering, was there a message to you from Lila that they're gonna be late or anything that we know of that may have been extenuating on this?
Believe so, and honestly, I don't think historically people have been always doing it within the 30 days.
Mhm.
I try to send an email out for the end of the fiscal year, just reminding everyone, you guys are due by this, I copy and paste.
Right, I saw that. A little flurry of them.
Yeah. So maybe if we're gonna enforce the 30 days, we need to let them know like, hey, I think this has been kind of slacked in the years past,
Mhm.
as long as we get them. But maybe we need to be a little bit more, and we can send we can do that with next year's application too. Just put a note in there that says, this will be enforced.
A hard date now.
But the question is,
Yeah.
if we enforce it, how do you enforce it?
Right.
What's the penalty if they're late?
Okay,
Well, so your application for the next year is supposed to include your last final eval. So I mean, if they didn't have their final eval or if they were late, I guess you could take that into consideration for funding, but we don't. I mean, I don't know if that's really.
that used to be the issue with Saver because the 30 days after Saver came like 2 weeks within for the asking for funding for the next year.
Right,
And so, and he was always dead on getting his in time, even though he did then include it to his thing. But I know that some people aren't, I mean, a lot of these people are volunteers.
Yeah.
right.
And
It's like-
say, if you haven't had your event, just say that. Say, hey, I haven't had my event and this is when it is. You just have to turn something in explaining.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, she had plenty of time. I didn't know you'd left. And so I didn't know. It's like, did Lila say, I'm going to be gone for a month? Can I get this in later or something like that? I don't know.
No,
I don't know how much of a hard ass we need to be.
Well, and
This is the question.
right, I'm just wondering, because I don't really recall us having a conversation about late submissions.
And the chamber's been late on several before.
Right, but I don't think we've ever gone into like, what do we do with them late? Do we do something with them late? Do we not do something with them
I know.
late ones?
Maybe that's for the third thing on the agenda.
Sure,
Should we be or should we not be or?
okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
And maybe frame it like, the data is
There needs-
fresh and more accurate.
Yes.
Kind of frame that if something gets sent out.
Right.
And,
Right.
or,
but I'm thinking like send it in within 30 days or blank,
yeah.
right? What's,
Or else.
or, yeah,
To community grants is the same thing. That's their policy is 30 days after the event, but that's never really been enforced either.
Right.
Everybody, because you usually have the same people apply each year. They make sure it's definitely in time to be considered for their next application. Because all those years I did community grants, there's maybe one or two organizations that would ever turn them in right on time, but they made sure that they had that filled out. And
I bet they did.
For their next.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Application.
right.
Okay. That's something to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, were there any questions on Lila's submission?
No, and especially since Bruce is telling us to back off of the whole heads and beds.
Right,
This sort of gives this, them. This is sort of supporting the arts and not necessarily being concerned about heads and beds because it's so hard for them to prove anything.
mm-hmm,
So they do good work.
anything else on the Canopy Church Association submission? Okay, let's move on to gallery group.
Is it the gallery group or?
Joe Clayton's,
Wow.
oh, I'm sorry, the emails,
There were the emails about when did you get it in? And, oh, no, I'm sorry. Oh, those were Cannon Beach Salon. Maybe they're just out of order.
yeah, there's emails and then,
And then it goes to Joe Clayton.
right,
Okay, so the emails from Cannon Beach Salon I'm assuming this is about WOW.
Wow, and they're the same.
Yes, yeah. So does that mean she hasn't gotten her thing in?
She has not turned one in.
Oh,
Her reply.
I see her reply that she thought she sent it, but we don't yet know if she found it. I see why this is in here. And we don't know yet, and that was August 2nd. Bridget, what's going on?
Mhm.
Huh, that's weird. So poke Bridget again.
yeah, your email says, please submit your final evaluation no later than August 10th. And I take it then you did not receive anything?
I did not receive it.
But she says looks like she sent it in on 12/15, but we haven't got an answer from her whether she found it or not.
Correct.
Okay.
It's actually not the actual end of the fiscal year. It's 30 days after the end of the fiscal year, which is kind of silly.
Yeah, that is
I
kind of
usually
silly.
give them a couple extra days, like, hey,
Yeah. So she needs another poke because we do need that final event for them.
well, this is good too, because like Steve and I talked about maybe doing that meeting in September. I can try to poke these people, and if we have any questions, we can get them
Right. And this would be a good subject for that
Mhm.
September meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because then the question is, what if we don't get a final?
Yeah.
All,
Well, her next, well, no, because we've already approved
Mhm.
her stuff for next year. That's right. Okay. Okay. We do need a final for that.
okay. And you also sent Joe an email and you got a response from him.
Well, no, I didn't. The ones that are included were ones I already had,
Okay,
and I should have been more specific. Well, I sent everyone kind of the same email, but,
right.
um,
But you customize it in a couple different spots.
yeah, we had, earth and ocean and stormy weather, but not
Spring unveiling.
spring unveiling and the,
Sojourn.
Oh, that's right. Not about the advertising one. Well, I think it's fairly clear to see why they're not asking for money this year.
Right.
This is phoned in. Which doesn't surprise me, given what Jim said about them not applying for money this year.
Okay, so we have two Blush Lux and Cannon Beach Gallery Group are kind of in the same basket, except for Blush Lux has asked for money and
Yeah,
Gallery Group did not.
yep, correct.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Cottage tour.
Is this a final? Oh, it is a final. I didn't have it. Good, as usual.
Theirs is late as well,
Yes, it
right?
is.
Mhm.
But they also had a change in leadership. So there's a little bit of leeway associated with it where Elaine didn't get to it and probably the new staff didn't realize that it hadn't been submitted. So it just lingered out there.
I think back to another reason why the 30 days might be a good thing.
God, oh, man. Or at least an explanation for, can we get another 30 days?
Yeah.
Our leadership left and we need to
Yeah.
gather the information, at least
Right.
something rather than
Something,
just
yeah.
Let us know.
it comes in 6 months later,
Right.
or in this case, 8 months later.
Right.
So,
And we know in the past, they've always been really good
Mhm.
at reporting.
Yeah,
They've been maybe the best.
oh, yeah. And you'll notice that Liz is back on board and she has all that historical knowledge.
Correct.
I think adding the dirt fishers is fun. What a great idea. Since that kind of dovetails into what they
Mhm.
have there.
Any questions on this?
Nope.
Let's move on to Bat Bike.
Aside from the first paragraph being oddly worded, which I had to read 4 times. Now I understand. There were 35 attendees.
Right.
I read it this morning again and it's like, oh, okay, I see what he's trying to say now. So I'm kind of bummed that they didn't manage to do better in spite of the weather.
Right.
If this event seems like it should be 100, 150 people every year. I don't know. I'd love to, when they come in, well, they already came and asked for money. Well, but the lady didn't. Their organizer did not come
Right.
to ask for the money. I want to know what they should be doing to get it to 100.
Yeah, why do they think that this isn't growing?
Right.
Mhm.
And is it just timing with
If it's
COVID? They
always
just started it?
Is it always weather? I mean, I don't know. Some of these people should be totally used to, they're out on the
Yeah.
trail
Right.
doing it no matter what.
They're agnostic.
Yeah.
Yes, I would think.
So I'd be curious to know from her, like, what needs to happen for this to be 150 people? Because to me, it should be.
Right.
So maybe I'll mention that to Jim, that it might be interesting to ask that question to see if you have any insight, because for sure her other events are certainly that big.
Right.
I liked all the ideas and I love the ideas of the receipts. I see that Alan's asking for an app to track the receipts rather than bringing in paper. Which makes sense, but they sure spent money. $3,200. That one guy. Oh, no, that was all the receipts, sorry.
No, we didn't see a boost from them this year, which was a surprise. Because usually it was.
Yeah.
A couple of them coming for a glass of wine or
Yeah.
beer or something.
Yeah.
That'll.
Yeah, I think the whole 54% stayed in hotel stayed with us. Because we were, yeah, we were mostly full with Fat Tire Bikers, which was different. I mean, we've never had them stay with us before. So I don't know what the change
What
was.
did you recognize from the clients for the people that were renting? Was there any?
Just that there were bikes all over my courtyard.
Right.
But that's about it. I
Were they
mean,
families or young
no,
kids?
no, it was all older
Oh, okay.
folks. Yeah, a lot of e-bikes.
Yeah,
lot of
well, they
e-fat
mentioned
tire
that in
bikes.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, so they just kind of sat out and drank all night.
I mean, were they disruptive? Were they kind of customers we want?
I mean, I guess, yeah, I mean, they didn't cause any issues. We just don't have the capacity for like bikes.
Yeah. Right.
That's kind of the big problem there. And they don't want to, put them back on their
No, no.
vehicles and we don't want them to put them in the room. So that's just the challenge with that.
Interesting, because Greg Swedenberg actually built a thing to put bikes in because he's having so many people with bikes show up at his hotel.
We really don't have a whole lot of that. I mean, we have a couple and usually if we'll try to put them on the ground floor so they can put them on their patio.
Yeah, right.
But we don't have any space to build that.
Right.
sort
No,
of
no,
thing.
no, I'm not asking you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying that that's what he ended up doing, and he usually gets a lot of business from this because people know that they can go and walk up their bikes.
Yeah, and I wanted to
So-
put like the bike repair station at the hotel, and I know my parents aren't happy with that. So I'm hoping the chamber, we can coerce the chamber into.
I
doing
saw
something
one
like
of
that.
those in Ashland. That's just pure genius.
Oh, they're really nice.
That is pure. I walked by and it's like, what the hell is this? And it's like, oh, it has all those little tubes and stuff and screwdrivers and all this kind of stuff, all attached to a big metal pole. You can cruise on up and isn't there air in there too? for
You can-
Tires?
Yeah, you can buy an air pump with it.
It's so cool.
That is.
Right in the middle of downtown Ashland. Very cool.
Hmm.
That would encourage bikes.
Yeah.
That's something that could be funded.
Sure.
Yeah, and they're not that expensive. I think one with the air pump is like $1,500. It's just where to put it,
Yeah, where to put it would be a challenge. I would assume we'd have to do it near the chamber.
I would think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, interesting idea.
By the information center over there.
No.
I had a question for you, Hannah. Did you guys do any marketing to this group?
No, we don't do any marketing other than Facebook.
Right. I was just wondering why.
I have no idea
Okay.
how that ended up.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think any of them had stayed with us before. It might just be, the price.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay.
I still like the event. I just would like it to, hopefully, it's gonna get its feet underneath it and start going. I've seen when I've done events, I've had a situation where it was like, it grew in little bits, and then one year it went back and I thought, oh, maybe this is the end of it. And the next year it like leapfrogged huge. So it's like, sometimes it takes that to back off and then you throw COVID into the mix. You don't know, but it's like, this really should be like, it should be hitting its stride,
Right.
in my opinion.
Right. Well, and this organization, I mean, they advertise across the West Coast, do they not?
Oh,
And you would think with all that co-advertising at other events that people would just go, oh my gosh, there's
I
a
know.
North Oregon coast
Yeah.
and we haven't been there before.
So I'd be interested in talking to her, just like, what's happening? Because she knows the event better than anybody.
Sure. I mean, it may be that the hotels are jacking rates that weekend because of the event and people are like, oh, I'm not spending $1,000.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But that could be something that we don't have really optics on that she may be able to give us
I
advice.
don't know if she does a follow-up questionnaire or anything after after the event, but it'd be interesting to know, so.
It'd be interesting to know if she is, when she's advertising at other events, advertising Cannon Beach, how are they promoting it?
Right.
Right? What else are they doing to promote this
Yeah.
when they're at, you know,
Newport or
Newport.
Bend or, yeah.
okay.
Look like we have business. That's always good. What did it go?
It's a May.
What was in May?
Last week.
Oh, what's this one? Oh, do we need to go through the Culinary Fest?
I don't think we need
It
to,
can happen.
can happen.
See if it happens next year. I think the restaurants they still have a ways to go before getting their feet under them again still.
Well, and wasn't Bob kind of the driver of this? And I think Bob is not gonna drive it. Just based on what he's doing. So this one could be kind of the end of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of looking at two dots and drawing a line between the two. All right, anything else on that? And then we have the signage.
Oh, poor signage.
Oh, and it is getting ready to fall.
And it's so.
How it's still standing up, I have no idea.
And we got winter coming. It's a goner by this winter for sure.
Right,
It was interesting to get, I mean, I was glad to see that they got this far because without the ODOT information, you got nothing. to
Yeah.
Start with.
right.
So that was interesting. So the rules are there, the RFP is ready. It's just somebody needs to tackle it.
Yeah, I think Jim did a really good job on that.
Yeah.
And I know he said that it's kind of bounced between city groups. I mean, is there a way that we can dedicate the funds and parks can run with it?
That actually happened at one point in time, and then the chamber offered to take over it, so they.
And Parks went, yay!
So I think now we're back at that other point of beginning the next set of conversations because the city backed off, because the chamber was gonna do it, so now we're back
Back to the parks,
Back and do it.
back to the city.
to the city.
I would love to see it done because that sign's embarrassing.
Mhm.
And Seaside looks so nice.
Perfect sign for
It's
them.
adorable.
So perfect. Oh, man.
Anything else on that?
Oh,
Okay. Cannon Beach video project with the chamber.
I haven't been on YouTube to see what's out there. I've been bad, sorry. So I don't have any
I
information.
haven't looked at them either.
I know. I've been bad.
I like the idea of,
Hey,
you
Greg.
know,
Hey,
shorter snippets that might be more versatile for other people to.
he has taken the feedback that we've given him before, when he first did the Savor Cannon Beach one, it was all about him walking around and having wine and drinking, and it's like, no one knows who you are.
Right,
Yeah.
Why are you in this video?
Yeah.
It was like, whatever, 6 minutes long. It's like
no one's watching that long.
Yeah.
30 seconds is the longest anybody's gonna look. So let's get those down and, yeah. So he's done a good job of
Yeah.
taking the feedback and changing it.
Sure.
I mean, things that I think the groups can just throw up on Instagram as a snippet, or here's what's coming, or, you know.
Yep.
Here's, you know, I think that that's more likely to be used across multiple groups.
So Greg, where we are right now, we're going through the finals. And we are almost through. We're at the chamber's video productions. Any more conversation regarding the videos?
Mm.
The last report here is the Faber Cannon Beach.
think it's a good rethinking of the event, given the weirdness of of Savor and
Right. Yeah, I do too, because it's not one weekend
Mhm.
where it's a mad crash of humanity. But it's stretched out over the month. And so it benefits the hotels and the restaurants and the shops.
I think the challenge will be, I mean, he's saying he's gonna try to get it back up to the same room nights. That's a hell of a hike to climb.
Number,
That's a big number to go for, but hey, more power.
right?
You can do it. There'll need to be more small events than just the few that he's doing, but because yeah, that was some big number of rooms.
Right, right. What I like is that there's still events on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday each week,
Right.
right? And so if you get somebody to come in, you're gonna get them for 3 or 4 nights.
Yeah.
So it's possible. But I mean, that's a big ask for him to get back to.
Yep.
4 nights the way he was doing.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, and it'd be nice if it was, I mean, more people participating is more complications. It's great that the bistro is participating. There's a group of restaurants that will never participate. But like if McGregor, if they can somehow work in McGregor's or just, I don't know, get another or 2, like 3 restaurants going that will participate, then it's less because the bistro is limited by its amount of seating. Well, everybody's limited by the amount of seating. And no, there's no big restaurant here except for Pelican.
Okay,
And so it'd be even better to kind of spread it out, but you also have to find a restaurant that's willing to participate and
Sure.
actually do
Sure.
something, which
Sure.
sometimes is a big ask for restaurants.
well, I think that Bistro saw that he sold out every one of their events, right? And Seasons
Yep.
saw that too. He sold out every one of those events, and that puts a lot of people, I mean, that's a great Friday night pop for them.
Yep.
The other thing is with the Pilot House, with Pilot House Distillery, that gives them another possibility
Yeah.
of
Yep.
a site, a venue location and event.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
I think there's, I'm hopeful that he can get back up to it. Unfortunately, I don't have to do the misunderstood wines 5 times again. My presentation was basically wines people don't like 5 times. So, yeah. Which was, what's that?
What will you do this year?
It's gonna be a variety of different things. So, and it's less educational and more, what we found is people, they want less Steve talking and more wine drinking, right? So we're making that adjustment.
What we found out the first time Andy did his presentation up at the Surf Sound Ballroom, it's like, and one of the people actually said on the phone, more wine drinking, less Andy.
Right. Well, I felt that way. I felt less Steve, more wine drinking, right?
Yep.
So that's what it's going to. Okay. Any other questions on that? On Savor? Yeah. Toaster Theater.
I'm so bummed Three Leg Torso only got 79 attendees. I love Three Leg Torso.
Did you go?
I'm not to this one. I went to, they did Stormy Weather a few years back and I went, I just love them.
I think the challenge that Three Leg Torso has is they've been here
A lot of times. Yeah.
5, 7 times.
Yeah.
I mean, so is Curtis.
Yeah. Curtis.
But, yeah,
Curtis.
I was kind of looking at the difference between Tom and Curtis. Number wise,
mhm. Yeah,
but I don't know.
Curtis is just a bigger name.
Yeah.
Yep.
so that show was on April 2nd and like on May 2nd, he was named Best American Blues Singer. And it was ridiculous. So he had just been here
Right.
and, he gets this award, I think it was in Memphis, Best American Blues Singer. You're like, wow. Right, the talent.
Still
I
getting,
don't even know Aaron Largett Kaplan with 26 tickets. I don't even know that show. Oh,
Either.
it looks like the plays are doing well.
it does. Hmm. And we don't know any more about this year's Pink Martini yet, right?
Right,
April, we don't know the date yet.
right.
Yeah, okay. They were shooting for April. Yeah, I don't have any questions about it.
Okay.
Oh, I was looking around just because the Blush Lux one, he did send a report in December, but it was the eval dates on the top were 2021. So what she sent in December, I thought was last year, so I'm wondering if she meant that to be this year's.
The Bluff Lux one?
Yeah,
Oh, maybe she didn't change the date.
that may have been, so I sent some to the printer for you guys to look at, because I saved it in the 2021 file.
Oh.
Because that's what the dates on the top were. And I didn't look into it that much more, because I was like, okay, she'll forward it to me, and then. So I will go pull that off the printer.
But wait, wasn't it 2021?
It should have been.
It should have been 2021. 2022 is coming up.
Yeah,
That's correct.
because it's October, right?
Because it's, well, I thought it was November,
November.
Now, this-
Oh, November, yeah.
November of 21. Then she would have sent it in she should have sent it in December of 21.
Right.
but we're doing the evals for the 21-22 cycle.
But her 22 hasn't happened yet, but she should have given you a final for the 21.
So,
November of 21 should have been given to you 12/21.
so that is, okay, so that would actually be, that is technically for that funding, but we're reviewing it now because we held her date over.
Correct.
Okay,
So you did get an eval at the right time.
okay, but I thought it was the year before.
No problem.
The date thing.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad she got it into you because that was like, doesn't sound like Bridget. Oh, good. No, she sold, I had my hair cut a couple days ago and she said that she'd sold 25 VIP tickets. And she said that for the Blush Lux, those seem to be more popular than the regular ones. And it's like, that's good, right? She said, "Oh, yeah."
I'm gonna show Steve. I'm gonna get to 100.
She's totally wanting to get you. Just totally wants to get you.
Well, I'm hopeful.
I know,
we-
I know.
we Get to 100.
She was guessing that more of the general admission tickets might happen sooner, where it's like, what's going on in town? Oh, there's this thing. Oh, well, we're here, so. But the VIP that you kind of want to plan for that.
Right.
So anyway, so she was kind of pleased about that. Oh,
right, well,
thank you.
sorry about that.
All right.
I'm glad I dug a little bit more, but the whole year thing
Thank
is.
you, ma'am.
Saw that they added well, Greg Bell isn't here, but you saw that they added the men's events.
Did they talk to the Handsome Wolf and add that?
I don't know. The Handsome Wolf?
That was that's the barber or
Oh, I don't know. I
decided-
don't know who they asked, but
specifically said, I'm gonna talk to the.
there's a whiskey tasting and I believe a hot shave. So,
Good.
yeah.
Well, and they also included the Sunday page of events, because I think I had questioned them. They said, oh, we have Sunday events, and I was like, I haven't seen anything. about
Right.
Sunday. So here, good.
Good. They got a way to mix in some. We're struggling with the, how do you make sure that local vendors can get in there too, because they're bringing in names from elsewhere because they need that as a draw.
Draw.
But then bringing a local jewelry here, and Sarah McAllister and stuff like that, that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's great. Yep.
So you're helping the locals as well as bringing in names to get people to come. So. Well, I sure hope it works this year.
I hope they have decent weather. It seems like it pours on them every year.
Yeah.
No, it just does. I'm very hopeful. It seems like it's been nice, the stormy weather weekend, and then the following weekend for Blush Lux, it pours. So I'm hopeful for them. Any questions about this?
Okay.
Great. So then I will consider this one not late.
But then the only late ones are the $2 ones. And I do have a hard time getting Joe to respond. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, they didn't apply for this year, right? They didn't request any money for this year, so.
He was checked out, which is why they're not.
Do we need to have a motion to approve these or?
What,
In the past?
have we done that in the past?
I don't recall on,
I don't think so.
okay,
Did,
okay.
because they are what they are.
Mhm.
And council took our things with no questions, or was there any,
That's my understanding.
Yeah, not at all.
they just, okay,
I don't even think they really asked any questions.
They didn't ask me any questions.
Yeah, Steve gave a quick overview. We did talk about the conversation about the elementary school use.
Yeah.
With TAF applicants, but
Mhm.
they didn't really,
Yeah, they didn't ask me any questions.
yeah, they didn't even know that, they didn't even comment on our new one. It's kind of exciting to get a new app.
I know,
But it just was very much,
I think they had bigger,
bigger fish to fry.
so they wanted to get through. it.
There wasn't a Clutchie Creek on there where it could have been, there wasn't really anything controversial. That's where in the past with the Clutchie Creek, for example,
Tribes discussion.
yeah.
Okay. The item number 3, I think we're gonna table this and go to the September meeting with this. And Jennifer, what's the date on the September meeting?
it is on September 19th
September 19th.
at 1 PM.
And what was that for?
Well, we had initially reserved that in case we needed a meeting,
Oh.
but because we're missing some members today, we'd like to go ahead and finish the discussions about next year and our future with everyone here.
Yeah, okay,
I think we have some things to talk about with the beds and heads. And then what if people don't submit reports? Does that impact their funding?
right.
I mean, late reports is one thing, no reports is a different thing.
Yeah.
And just to have a conversation around it.
Okay.
Now, with you guys, because of the type of conversation we're having, we want me to invite Ashley
Oh, for that.
to see if there's any, how we can enforce things or what our options are for enforcement or,
Or Bruce. I don't know.
yeah, Bruce apologized. He couldn't make this one. He had another one going on, but this one. Or what we can do is talk about what we want to do and then I can always email Ashley just.
I
make
hate
sure
to-
that-
I mean, I don't know what she costs, but man, just to have her sit here and listen to us go back and forth, I'm not sure.
Right, for an hour,
Okay, yeah.
$500.
I know.
And then after that meeting, whatever we decide, we can always shoot her an email just to make sure everything's kosher.
Right.
And good.
Yeah.
Not violating anything or
Sure.
stretching too far or.
And that doesn't mean we're gonna say, oh, there's a penalty of some sort, but at least have a conversation and say, hey, what if?
Yeah.
So the September meeting is on.
Yep.
So that's not
Anybody have a
true.
problem with the September 19th,
I don't.
that they're aware of?
I think it's on my calendar. Yeah, it's on my calendar.
19th.
Monday.
Monday, 1 to 3 is broken out for me on my calendar just to make sure that it's.
Okay. And then the other thing on the agenda is a date for the March. Meeting.
Do that.
You want to do that then?
Because then we'll have the other two grades as well.
Oh, good idea.
Okay.
Greg, did you have any fat bike people at your hotel?
Yeah,
You did
yeah,
too.
we did.
Okay.
And not just for the Fat Bike Festival, but in general,
Yeah,
I would count the accurate, but I would say probably 30% of the people that show up bring bikes nowadays,
Mhm.
which wasn't the case 5 years ago. You know, whether they're fat bikes, e-bikes, mountain bikes, cruisers, just, a lot more bike racks.
Mhm.
But for the festival, yes, we had a handful, like 4 or 5.
I was saying,
Yeah, we were like half full.
Yeah.
Bikers.
So our discussion when we got to that was, why isn't that growing? Do we have any
right.
suspicions or do we have any understanding of why that isn't growing? Because it seems like that event shouldn't be stuck at 35 people.
I don't know. When I look at the chatter on my social media for that type of stuff, you have a camp that is, why would I pay to go bike, on the beach?
Right?
And the rebuttal from, name escaping me right now,
Mhm.
that runs it, it's all, there's other events and activities taking place. This year, they didn't have the conflict, did they, with the other bike things going on?
Yeah.
I don't think they did. But I don't
Okay.
know. Marketing wise, I see a lot on social media for it. But I'm not looking for it.
Mhm.
So I don't know if the average person is seeing it. Or the bike enthusiast.
Well, if you're a bike enthusiast, I'm glad you're here seeing it because that's who they should be targeting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't see it other than Experience Cannon Beach or whatever, but I'm not a bike enthusiast, so I'm not their target market.
So you probably missed just by a little, right, with their target market?
I just, a little bit, yeah, just,
I asked Hannah if they were doing any marketing to that group and she said, no. Are you marketing to the fat bike?
Not directly.
Okay.
Very little social media, Facebook,
Mhm.
Instagram stuff every now and then. But it's specific to bikers,
Right.
maybe we don't want to do things. But we don't necessarily have a marketing department.
Okay, right, no, I understand.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking like in an email blast or you doing,
Yeah, I mean, I think we did a thing about Coochie Creek being incorporated and just kind of set it out on our Facebook and stuff.
you talk about having that room to lock the bikes up in.
I have not incorporated that on my website yet or anything like that. We tell it to people that ask,
Uh-huh.
and so forth. I'm kind of at the beginning stages of that.
Gotcha. I was just curious. Okay.
I think, this is just anecdotal, but I swear I see more bikes in town this year than I've ever seen in town.
Yeah, that's what it's crazy how many, and, I've been out to Coochie Creek 2 or 3 times. And the parking lot's always full or seems full, and the only people out there are people with bikes.
Mhm.
But on town, in town, you can just, count people riding and so forth.
Right.
One of my sales reps is a bike enthusiast and I'll have to ask him next time if he's seen any of the marketing, but he brought his daughter out to see me this time and they decided that he and her were going to stay over. They have a Sprinter van and they were going to stay over and specifically to do the Coochie Creek. His daughter's 10.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, isn't that kind of steep or whatever? And it's like, I haven't been out there, but he goes, oh, she can do it. They have their special bikes and blah, blah, blah. And that's what they were going to go do.
Yeah, no, there's one of my son's friends just got a concussion the other day crashing, and so
Oh, God.
there are a lot of enthusiasts out there. But there are, easy.
Different levels.
Different levels. And it's just, really caught on.
Wow. Okay.
I would be curious, and I would have asked that if I was participating, what the attendance level is like at the not Winchester, but the one down at Coos Bay. They have Whiskey Creek. They have a big trail system.
Mhm.
They've incorporated some biking events. And when you do go out and look for the what's going on in the biking world, you see that marketing and so forth, but I've never looked into like, is that a successful? Are they getting 150 people there while we're getting 35? What are they doing, that kind of thing? And that would be something that probably.
Well, unfortunately, she didn't show up for the talk. It was just Jim doing that. And she's the one I think that has the knowledge. Because I'm curious, does like this should be 100 to 150 people every year and but again, I don't know if it's just backed off and then next year is going to be a bigger thing. If it's all about the weather, then that makes it harder because there's no control over that, obviously, but I don't know. Like you said, it seem to be a bunch of people that's weather agnostic. It's like, are you an Oregonian?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About
Right.
then it's all about your rain gear, not about what the weather's doing.
Right.
Just need the right clothes. So anyway,
Does anybody have anything else? All right.
I just want to put it out there. I've been out of the loop for about a quarter now and missed a bunch of meetings, so I apologize for that, but I think I'm back on the mend.
Excellent. Glad that you're back on the map.
Got it okay for my surgeon this afternoon.
yay,
Excellent.
good for you.
I think we're concluded.
All right.
Thank you.
Great.